Am I the a-hole for ending a friendship over a bachelorette trip? Been there, done that. How relatable. So this video is gonna be in two parts. First, we have a story that was posted to Am I the A-hole that is now deleted. So, you always know there's tea when it's deleted. The original story is called Am I the A-hole for not splitting a check on a bachelorette trip with 9 girls? I went on a bachelorette trip in August to celebrate my best friend of 4+ years who's getting married next May. So it was a total of 10 of us on this trip. 3, me, Kat, and the bride, are in Texas. The other 7 live in California. 4 are the bride's sisters, 3 are friends. The Texas group flew out to California to meet the other group.
Ready to party!
We then flew out the next day to our destination in Mexico. First day, we went out to dinner and the club. While at dinner, we are all aware how difficult and unrealistic it would be for a check to be split 10 ways. So one would pay the whole thing, get an itemized receipt, and the next day we would all take turns looking over the receipt and Venmo the person who paid, including tax and tip. This just seemed like the most easy and smooth way to go about things.
Just keep going.
Okay, so far so good. After dinner, we go out to the club where immediately after entering, we have a section and bottle service comes out. An hour later, another bottle service comes out, and majority are a bit confused as to who ordered the next one. Something to highlight, 2 out of the 10 don't drink tequila and 1 drinks beer only. Okay. Feel like you're making the case to say, oh, I didn't drink that, so I don't want to split it, if I'm understanding.
That's right.
Just quick context, I'd stepped away to use the restroom with another girl when I grabbed the bride's phone as it was on the edge of the section and she was drunk. We go and come back 5 minutes later, everybody's gone, they're outside yelling and the bride is getting into it with one of her sisters. Apparently she thought some random girl stole her phone and chased this random lady down the street barefoot in Mexico. Some very nasty words were exchanged between 3 sisters, including the bride. We ended the night and went back to the hotel. Did you give her her phone back? Why didn't you tell her you took her phone? The next day, we get a text from Lori, one sister, stating it's $88 each for the club last night. No itemized receipt, just basic transaction receipt. That's $800 for one night at the club. That's actually like not that much. Like I'm just saying, okay, like this might sound extremely out of touch, but when you're getting bottle service, which is something that like my friends do on special occasions, like a bachelorette or like maybe a birthday trip or something like that, bottle service is really expensive. But when you have a big group of people, it seems like a really good option. And it usually only ends up being about like $150 a person, which when you consider how much it is to get into a club, which is usually $50 cover, you're usually paying like $20 per drink. It usually ends up being like worth it. Not to mention, if I'm gonna go out to a club, I prefer to sort of have our own section with places to put our shoes and our bags and our coats and stuff like that, and a section that's like kind of away from the creepy men, if you know what I mean. And it's normal to spend a lot more than $88 a person. Furthermore, you're on a bachelorette trip. I know that this comes with a lot of like conflicting opinions, but when you're on a bachelorette trip, expect to spend money. It is normal for everyone to split the cost so that the bride doesn't pay anything on her own bachelorette trip. It's a thing. It's a gift. It's a gift for the bride to take her out for one last hurrah. And it's normal for the group to pay for the bride. And it's my understanding that the bride is also splitting this. So that's just kind of where I'm at with this right now, but I'll hear you out. So we called a quick meeting as 3 never touched the bottle and others didn't drink as much. Yeah, but it's also a little difficult to like measure who's drinking what. I'm sure you drank water. Water bottles at the club are expensive.
I only have like $3.50.
And furthermore, it's like you're on a bachelorette. $88 for a night out is really not that much. Me, Kat, and 2 others felt we are here to enjoy the trip, but also aren't blowing money just to spend, and we should all be paying for what we order. I don't agree with that. Like, I think that makes sense if you're like kind of at a dinner and like a bunch of people are ordering a bunch of things, you're not drinking, and the drinks rack up the prices. I feel like that's fair. But in a situation where you're going out to the club with your friends and it's a friend's bachelorette trip, again, might be out of touch, it's normal.
Is this normal?
If you go on a bachelorette trip or a wedding or whatever, a birthday trip, expect to spend money on the guest of honor.
Be polite.
And if you don't want to do that, if that's too much to ask, and listen, not everybody is in the financial position to do that, and that is fine. But you cannot have it both ways, you know? Lori said she ordered the second bottle because the light up candles sparkler excited her. And well, now she's expecting everybody to pay for the extra bottle. I went out of my way to email the club and asked for an itemized receipt, which I received the next day. Each bottle was about $222, along with 2 buckets of beer that was ordered and 1 bucket of Red Bull. We leave that as it is for now and just get ready for the next day dinner. And while at this dinner, me and Kat are starting to hear others make some comments or give certain looks or exclude us from pictures. Okay. Some comments were heard that night were make sure we all pay for what we ordered. When the check came, we were able to split it 4 ways, so everybody got into small groups. Me and Kat paid together, but since we're in Mexico, it took us time to go through the receipt and convert it from pesos to USD, roughly for the check to go around the whole 4 groups. It took 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. But during the 30 minutes, we hear more comments. Why is this taking so long? Why can't we just split it evenly? I mean, this one's tough. This is tough because it's like, it is just normal to like split things evenly, especially when one person, you know, a bunch of people aren't ordering like top bar shelf stuff.
It's expensive.
You know, if it's like a couple of dollars difference, I don't see the point of sitting there for 30 minutes, nickel and diming, looking at an itemized receipt. I just don't see the point. Maybe because some people specifically are ordering shots back to back, Class Azul shots, and eating lobster tails like it's an open buffet. This is exactly why we shouldn't be splitting all bills evenly 10 ways. Okay, I feel like you kind of have a point there.
That's a very pretty point.
Class Azul, if you haven't heard of that, is a very expensive type of tequila. It is very expensive. I agree that if you're not drinking Class Azul, you shouldn't be paying for other people's Class Azul.
Tequila.
I kept my mouth shut. I never made comments back because it wasn't the time nor the place, and I kept telling myself they are the bride's sisters. After dinner, everybody went out except for me, Kat. We decided to go back to the hotel as we were already feeling uncomfortable with the continuous snarky comments. Kat was very emotional about the whole situation, especially how uncomfortable we were feeling, so much so that we looked up flights back home. Okay. But we slept on it and decided to speak to the bride instead. Next day, we, Kat and I, have a conversation with the bride. We express the comments people are making, how uncomfortable we are feeling. Kat is explaining her side and starts to cry a bit out of frustration. Kat mentions we looked at flights back home only for the bride to cut her off mid-sentence and says to us, if you want to leave, you can. To say I was disappointed is minimal. Why? She's saying that you guys can leave. I feel like that's what you want, isn't it? You don't want to be like part of this situation.
Get out of here!
This is tough because like if there really are ordering Class Azul shots, those are not cheap. But like when you're going on a bachelorette trip, and this is where some people get like confused about stuff, it really is customary to treat the bride, and it really is normal to like spend money. It is. This is like the one time in the bride's life where she's supposed to be treated, she's supposed to be celebrated, and I'm curious to know like what you said to her. And I think leaving in the middle of a bachelorette trip is kind of like, it's not the best way to go about it. I'm just saying. I was feeling sad, mad, and mostly misunderstood. We all spent so much money on flights and the hotel to come celebrate her, only for her to not see our side of things and be very defensive for the whole conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I think the last thing that I want to do on a bachelorette trip is like have a friend sit me down and like have a chat with me.
It's been nice chatting with you.
Me and Kat spoke privately and decided to try and put this to the side as we still have 3 days to go and try to make the best of our trip. The rest of the trip goes fine. We go back home and I don't reach out to the bride for about 3 weeks as I need space. I'm sure she wants space, and eventually my plan was to text her and meet for lunch or dinner to speak in person about the trip.
Let's talk about that.
Instead, I get a text of her deciding to end our friendship. She states I was very inappropriate on the trip, I was disrespectful to others, and that I don't celebrate her wins with her, especially on the most exciting trip of her life. Okay, interesting. I feel like there's some subtext there that you're not talking about. I responded with what made the most sense to me. Very direct, honest, and not in any way disrespectful, but rather very disappointed in all of this. To not even give me the decency to see me in person, to speak, says a lot more about her than to me. I then blocked her on everything.
You shall not pass!
Okay. I want to clarify, I was not being cheap or broke on this trip. I came on the trip with roughly $2,000 if needed, but not with the mindset of let me blow it all. So the question is, am I the a-hole? The post was deleted, so I'm looking at kind of like a repost of this. And based on the comments that were shared, it doesn't seem like people are on OP's side. So others wanted their trip funded and got upset when it wasn't. Were they ordering the same expensive services and items when checks were split evenly? Or did they stick to a more realistic budget? Overall, the trip seems outrageously excessive and expensive unless y'all are in crazy income tax brackets than the majority of people. OP responded to this and said, I will say everybody's income is different, very, very different. Again, it's the principle if I order a steak and 3 drinks, but you order 3 shrimp, lobster tails, and 10 shots with 5 cocktails, splitting evenly makes no sense to me.
What?
What's happening?
I don't really think it, okay. Let's like clarify the price here. Someone said this is in pesos. That's $635 US split by 9 people. That's only $70. So yes, I believe you are the a-hole. Hold on a second. The dinner was only $600. Okay, so $70 a person? Okay, hold on a second. $70 for a steak and 3 cocktails. That is not that much. That's what you're getting weird about? Okay. Paying that goes a lot longer of a way than the resentment that ensues if you're the only person who refused. Someone else said, look, I'm the most frugal person around and absolutely loathe split checks when I'm feeling like someone is taking advantage of the situation. That said, this is nuts. The details should have been hammered out long before the event even took place, and you are there to celebrate the bride for a monumental occasion that you agreed to be a part of, and she needs to watch her lobster tail consumption? Yeah. Then you corner the bride to unload on her your feelings and inform her of your thoughts on leaving. She is the last person who should have been brought into this mess. She is the guest of honor. And you were clearly pissy enough to need space for weeks after it was over. I don't blame her one bit for feeling let down by you. Yeah. One person kind of on OP's side said, you're not the a-hole, but I would probably have advised not talking to the bride during the trip and sticking it out until you got home. The last thing a bride wants is to be stuck in the middle of drama when the trip is supposed to be about her.
I'm over it. I don't need this anymore.
I 100% agree with this. I don't necessarily know if a conversation needed to be had, but like, I can tell you that being a bride comes with like a couple of days where you get to be celebrated. You don't get to hear about problems. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Do not bring me problems as a bride, especially not on my bachelorette trip and especially not on my wedding day. And there were a few times throughout the year I was getting married where I had to be like, I'm not dealing with it today. Please do not to me about your problems. Do not come to me and express like certain issues or complain about things. Like, do not, okay? Save it for after the wedding or after the bachelorette, because it's just like, I'm not going on a trip to like have confrontations with my friends, you know? Especially not about something like this. It's one thing if the bride is being a total bitch, but it kind of just seems like she went on a trip. She wanted to spend some money because, you know, it's her bachelorette. You had a problem with treating her and spending money on her. You're not even spending money on her. You're kind of just like spending money in general. But at the same time, you're spending money for her so that you all have a good time.
Having a good time. That's right.
It doesn't sound to me like you didn't have the money because you went on the trip in the first place. You kept $2,000 to spend. I just don't really like it when people are like nickel and diming over stuff like this. Like, it's the one time where a bride gets to go balls to the wall and live life to the fullest and eat well and drink well and go out and have fun. I feel like that comes with the territory, you know? And like I said, you're completely entitled to not want to be involved. If you're not in a position to spend money on a bachelorette trip, don't go. Like, literally don't go. I'm sure the bride will understand if she's not like totally unreasonable, right?
How dare you?
But you went. You spent the money on flights. You spent the money on hotels and all this other stuff. You spent the money on food and drinks. You are in a position to be able to afford it. You just don't want to be able to afford it for her, is what I'm hearing. So this other person kind of went on and said it probably would have been better to try and have a conversation with the sisters and work it out without the bride's involvement. Yes. Yes, I really like that. It sucks that she's chosen to end your friendship, but maybe it's for the best if she's not open to hearing you out now that the trip is over. I will say that there was like a bit of drama going on like at my wedding, and I did not hear about it until like 2 weeks after the fact. Like my friends were like, we got some tea. They came over, we debriefed over a couple of cocktails, and like I had absolutely no clue what was going on. And I was so grateful that I didn't know about it on my wedding day. Same kind of deal, you know? Oh, and by the way, the drama did not involve me. So before you're like, where's Charlotte or Bridezilla? No, it did not involve me. So OP responded when it was brought up in the group discussion, all it created was snarky comments and hostility. To be in a room with people who are talking about you, very uncomfortable. $800, split 10 ways, $80 per head. Not bad at all on receipt number 2. Not sure what the problem was. I completely agreed. Like the way that OP described it was that like the bachelorette was going absolutely insane, ordering top shelf liquor, like just really being very unreasonable. $80 for dinner? Is that not normal? No. OP responded, 3 people didn't touch any bottles at the club. Yeah. If you wanted to go and sit in the booth with everybody, then yeah. You're also paying for the experience. You're not just paying for the liquor. You're paying for a rented space in a club and also cover for the club.
We're broke.
How does that make sense? And at dinners, I'm eating shrimp, my 2 drinks, and water while others have no self-control and ordering lobster tails and Class Azul shots. Do the math now. It's a bachelorette! It's a fucking bachelorette! This is not just like a regular night out. Like, it's just not. Okay. I feel very strongly about this. I'm sure people are gonna have opposing opinions. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you feel $80 is too expensive to spend on a night out for dinner, to treat your friend on a bachelorette trip, if you really cannot make that work, don't go.
Honesty is always the best policy.
Hi, Mike. I'm getting very heated.
I literally heard you screaming.
I'm screaming. I'm pretty sure that I'm banging on the table.
There's construction workers outside who look towards the house.
You know
what's happening?
Okay, it's about someone he's nickel and diming a bachelorette. We have personal experiences with this. Oh God.
Okay, I'll let you get to it. Hydrate.
Love you.
Hey, let me see your ring. Yeah.
I'm getting so heated. I think it's because I've like had personal experiences with this, and it has put a little damper on things, on friendships, on trips. You know, the interesting thing about this video is the bride in this story went on TikTok to share her side, and we have the video and the permission from the bride to share it. Ooh.
I had to kick out my best friend / bridesmaid out of my bridal party, out of my life permanently, all over $15. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as I can.
$15?
I had my bachelorette in Cabo the first weekend of September. There's 10 girls. It was no pressure whatsoever. I originally only wanted to go with my sisters because I have 5 sisters, but I gave everyone the opportunity to go. So it ended up being 10 girls. There was 2 girls from Texas. That's where I live right now, but my whole family's from San Diego. So the rest of the girls and my sisters all live in San Diego. So these 2 girls that I met in Texas, we'll call them like A and K. So we all went. The first night we went to a nightclub. It was so much fun. You had to get bottle service in order to get into the booth. So I wanted to buy a bottle, so we did that. My sister ended up ordering another bottle. Someone ordered like beers, no big deal. We get the tab the next day, or my sister texts us or whatever in a chat, and she's like, hey, the tab was $800, so everyone needs to Venmo me $80 at your earliest convenience, My friends were like bothered by that. My friends A and K, because they're bothered that it was $80 a person because they said they didn't drink a lot. One of them, A, said she only had 4 drinks from the bottle that night, whatever.
Hold on a second. So she did drink from the bottle. Someone did drink from the bottle. So 4 drinks out at a club around, $15 to $20 a drink with tip. That's $80, honey. That's $80. The math ain't mathing. It is mathing, but like, you know what I mean?
Just like whatever. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'll pay for y'all's portion since I wanted to buy a bottle anyways. People had just already started Venmoing my sister. So it was like me paying for the bottle and her paying for the other bottle. Like, we just like didn't want to deal with all of that. We just figured everyone paid. We'll just pay for like more things during that weekend or whatever.
Hold on a second. So OP never said that the bride paid for one of the bottles. She left that part out. Interesting how we're omitting information.
A ended up emailing the nightclub for the itemized receipt because she was like so bothered by this $80. So then she got the itemized receipt back and whatever. They were just like obsessing over that all week. But I ended up telling them, because I was trying to nip this in the bud. Like I knew, like, no, we're not doing drama this weekend. Like you're not going to start the weekend off like this. Like I immediately was like, you guys need to be on your own separate tabs moving forward. I was like, I don't want you to be lumped in with what me and my sisters and my other friends are like buying. And then I said, I can pay for y'all's portions. Like I told them I'll pay for those portions since I wanted to buy a bottle anyways. But they insisted that they didn't want that to be the solution. So it was like weird. They were like coming up with this problem but didn't want to take a solution. So then whatever, like we stopped talking about it. And then on night 2, we're getting ready to go to the dinner and then the club. And so then I see them whispering to each other in the mirror as I'm curling my hair. And so I was like, oh, like, hey, I heard A say, we'll just see how we feel after dinner. So I already knew where this was going. So I literally said, oh, are you girls like not coming out to the club after this? So then A was like, well, I have a migraine, so we'll just see how we feel after. So I was like, okay, whatever. So then we go to dinner. A is drinking cocktails, which is interesting because if you have a migraine, I just thought that like it was really serious, but whatever. So then of course after dinner, they're like, yeah, we're gonna go home. So they go to the Airbnb. The rest of the girls go out. Literally night 2 was so much fun. Like it was the best night ever. Probably because there's no negative energy, but whatever. I didn't sleep. I slept in a different person's room that night in the Airbnb because I just didn't like the weird energy I was getting from those 2 girls. So then the morning of the 3rd morning or whatever, I get a text from A and she's like, hey, can you come to our room so we can have a talk? So I'm literally like shocked. Like I'm like getting sent to the principal's office on my bachelorette. Like I'm literally like, what is going on? I have no idea what to expect. They sit me down and they literally tell me I'm the problem. Like I'm making them feel cheap, like because I offered to pay for them, and they said that they feel uncomfortable around my sisters and my friends because they feel like I'm making them to be like cheap people because they don't want to pay for the bottle service because they hardly drank. Like all this crazy stuff. Like literally I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. I was literally just sitting there like, okay. So then A and K said that the night before they actually looked up flights to go home because they are so like bothered by this. So I literally like chimed in and I was like, I think y'all should leave. Like you're making me feel uncomfortable now. Like
Literally.
this is my bachelorette and you're making it about you.
Okay, she is 100% correct. Like 100% correct. Let's just like get this straight, all right? Just for everybody to understand. If your friend is getting married, OP in the Reddit story said this is her best friend. Your friend is getting married. Okay, this is your chance to treat your friend to the time of her life. That should make you so fucking excited. And maybe this is like not normal for a lot of people, but like me and my friends, we really go above and beyond for each other. Like we really, really do. We celebrate each other. We show each other the love, and that is the way that it should be.
Correct.
We have ended friendships over people who cause drama at bachelorettes, people who make it about them, people who cause drama, people who like start fights with each other. Like absolutely not. It is like an unspoken rule, but now it is spoken. Okay, it is spoken. Do not cause drama on bachelorettes or weddings. Do not come to the bride with complaints and expect to spend money and celebrate your friend or sister or aunt or whatever, whoever the f she is. Expect it. And if you're not willing to do all of those things, don't go. Literally don't go.
I think y'all should leave if, like, I'm not gonna beg anyone to stay and celebrate me. Like, it seems like y'all have made up your mind. So then they decide, oh, A said, I'm 50-50. She's like, I already paid for this trip. So she's like, I kind of want to stay and use the amenities at the Airbnb while y'all continue with your itinerary. In my head, I'm like, no, that's not how this works. But like, and like, that's just weird. Like, you're gonna be a fly on the wall at my bachelorette. Like, it's so goofy. So I was like, whatever. So then they're like, we need to go to breakfast to discuss. Like, literally, y'all sat me down at my bachelorette and like, I don't know. I'm just so uncomfortable. Like, I don't even know what my punishment is now. I need to go to breakfast and talk about it.
Okay, I will also point out something about this bride. The fact that she's willing to go kind of above and beyond for her friends when she should be treated. It is completely normal for like everyone to either like completely pay for the bride's way on a bachelorette or take her out to dinner or just something. Like it is totally normal for the bride to like not pay a thing. She's going above and beyond, trying to make things easier for her friends who seriously could like have an issue with spending money on her bachelorette trip, and somehow they're still causing problems.
Whack.
Absolutely not.
So then they come back like the freaking twins from The Shining, and they're literally like happy as can be. They're like, we decided to forget about it. And in my head, I'm like, why couldn't y'all have thought about this 24 hours ago instead of sitting the bride down at her own bachelorette and making this a big deal? But I was like, whatever. So we squash it and we have a great time. And then the end of the trip happens, and A says, we actually, now that I have the itemized receipt from the nightclub, since she emailed them and ran all the numbers and stuff, she was like, we were shaking our ass on the boots, and we decided that we do want to pitch in for at least one of the bottles from the nightclub. So I'm like, okay, cool. So she's like, we did the math, and it's $65 a person. So in my head, I'm like, girl, like, you started all this drama. You guys sat me down. You berated me. You threatened to leave my bachelorette party all over $15.
Buddy.
Like, I can't even buy a cheeseburger for $15. Like,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So then we get off the flight. A scurries off to the bathroom. She's like, I'll catch y'all later. I don't hear from her for 3 weeks. Like, nothing. We used to talk every single day. She completely ghosted me. She only texted me to reach out and ask if I changed my Amazon password because she's on my account. So I sent her a message and I just said,
stop.
This isn't for me.
Honestly, literally send her like a bill for your Amazon account.
Oh, so since we're nickel and diming, like, maybe let's, split the bill from now on for Amazon.
This is the thing, okay?
Okay.
$15. This was all over $15. And it might not seem like a big deal, but like, she made it a big deal. I really, really hate it. Like, so much when friends nickel and dime over special occasions and they're weird about it, because you know why that bothers me? Because it always comes around. When you're in a friend group, everybody treats each other, right? There will never be a point where my friends feel like I'm taking advantage of them, because it always comes around. I'm always treating my friends. Like, I'm always, gifting them things, bringing them bottles of champagne. Like, I'm always, always, always giving. And so are they, okay? So that's why whenever there's someone that kind of like upsets the balance and starts nickel and diming, it's like, okay, so maybe let's nickel and dime about the fact that I paid for your seat at this like beach club. Like, maybe let's nickel and dime about how I paid for your share of dinner, on my birthday. Let's nickel and dime about how I covered like 8 different Ubers that you were in and you didn't pay me back for. This is why it gets weird, because in a friendship, it almost always comes back around, especially when you really care about each other.
He was that friend!
Oh, the worst thing about it? When people nickel and dime, but then they're off like spending money on like designer bags and like trips and like, all things that they want to be spending money on for themselves, but they don't consider you worth $15 to just keep the peace. They're not like, they're weird about it, right?
You're not a girl's girl. You can't celebrate my wins. Like, your behavior, like threatening to leave the bachelorette. I was like, this is just too much for me. Like, you're supposed to celebrate the most exciting time of my life, like, not be the worst person I've ever met during that time. So I literally just said, like, I'm done, thank you, whatever, goodbye. But yeah, this is your sign that if you have any reservations about any friends, do not include them in these special moments that you can't get back again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I like, some of my favorite posts on this channel are like when we have both sides of the story. You know what I mean? It's a lesson on how people tend to not share the full story to get people on their side. As someone who doesn't even really drink, I'm paying the $80. It's a bachelorette party, period. Real friends have money combos before trips and figure out if they can go or should go. A bachelorette party is not the place to be nickel and diming. That part. $80 for a night at a table is so cheap. It literally is. Like, I don't think you guys understand. It is cheap. 4 drinks is $80 in most places. Literally. When you're nickel and diming over special occasions like birthdays and stuff like that, it just, to me, screams you don't feel like that person is worth your money. They are just an inconvenience to you, and you're willing to be weird and throw off the vibes for like literally no reason at all.
I don't think you want any help. I think you want to have a little pity party.
And remember, guys, it's a friendship. Unless someone's taking pure advantage, ironically, it's always the people taking advantage that are the ones that have the problems with spending $5 here, $10 there, or whatever. But if it's a friendship, it always comes back around. Give that a think in your noggin. Subscribe!